570 Power 6 box today, I can upgrade to a Power 7 770, and I pretty much pay the net price difference between the two. Move my serial number over, my depreciation schedule will stay the same. So it's a lot of financials go into this, just technology.
What, 45 nanometers?
Yes. That's the size of the die for the chip itself. So the idea is that they get smaller so we can put more cores into a environment. Cost. So originally what they pay, what are we talking about here? The new everything, licenses, software maintenance, hardware, everything over 24, over 3 years. We software maintenance, and as I said, that's where your big things really are. The dollars are in your software maintenance. Obviously, power. Now, power you can see watts we use compared to the watts we use there. So customers who are tight in their data center, this save a customer from having to rebuild the data center. So we don't take those costs into consideration, but a lot of our customers are incredibly tight in their data centers, have room for expansion, can't put any more boxes in. Doing this basically frees up their data center and that cost of rewiring, rebuilding, fixing the power and cooling. So it's not a lot of dollars, but certainly if you're a corporation that's looking to be green, that's a pretty nice thing to show an executive that says, look, we're going to reduce our power 70, 80, 90% from where we are today. Back, you can see in this one it's less than a year. So no-brainer to move. And this is done with a $600,000 placeholder for migration costs. Take it to assumption that you're buying new hardware and do turnkey migration from IBM where you don't even have to touch it. With some details of what all of it looks like, and I'm not going to spend time. You can get copies of this to see. But you see what the various systems look like, their configurations, and everything that's out there. Then summarize, so you can see hardware savings, maintenance savings, energy, our roadmap. And really why we've been successful in this space in those customers. And we have the same story if you have older IBM hardware. I'm working with a customer right now who's got 19 Power 5 boxes, moving them from those to a single 750. So when we showed the executive our numbers, this was strictly on IBM hardware maintenance alone. Stay in their current environment, they'll pay $450,000 over the next 3 years. They move to Power 7, $150,000 over the next 3 years. And their executive said to us, IBM, why would you ever do that? If you just stayed on our old stuff, you'd make $300,000 more. Answer was, well, if we don't tell you, somebody else will. And our view is we can continue to do that. We continue to make that aware, but there are significant savings, whether it's competitive, whether it's old IBM iron. To get you there, all before we do all those migrations, we called Migration Factory, was actually a group, Collector 7 that IBM bought. They do nothing but migrations. So they do an assessment of where you are in the competitive platform and how long it's going to take you to get to the IBM platform. Database migrations, infrastructure, applications, doesn't really matter. Depending on what you're running, obviously infrastructure applications, web servers, data servers are fairly straightforward to migrate. The applications like SAP and Oracle are very straightforward to migrate. So as you get into custom applications, they become a little more tricky and requires a little more time. But there's nothing that these guys have not seen before. All series of best practices. As said, we'll do a turnkey where you give it to us, we turn it back to you, you do your testing. We'll advise you. We'll work with a third party that you have chosen as well. Lastly, how do we reduce the risk? Well, obviously we reduce the risk in one way with Migration Factory because we've done hundreds and hundreds of these. But we're very comfortable in that space, and we continue to do that. The other way we do it is something called Power Rewards. What Power Rewards allows you to do is bring in your old hardware, HP, some, we don't actually want the boxes back, but we give you points for those systems. So think of them almost as frequent flyer points. So for a Sun Spark, you get 8,000 points per core. HP, 4,000 points per core. We add those up, basically turn those into dollars that can pay for services, station setup, migration services. Now there's a cap on how much you can turn in, but the point is, by doing this, reduce the risk of migrations by putting some skin in the game from an IBM standpoint that says, we're so confident that we can do this, we'll actually let you turn that stuff in and reduce your overall costs, which makes that TCO look even better. We do for proof of concepts. So really, kind of to end this is, if you have an environment where you'd like us to take a look at this, contact the folks at ISIS, contact your local IBM rep, contact folks, and we'd be glad to turn around and do a study for you. And pretty much everyone that I've done, we have to be successful. And actually, last year we had a program where we're actually giving customers blade centers, ASEs, if at least 25% savings in doing one of these studies. Any questions on what I've covered so far? Okay, so what I'd like to do now is I'll turn it over to moderator, Dan, and we'll let you move on.
Thanks, Steve.
Sure.
I want to thank everyone again for attending here. We're going to offer a quick break to those of you here in New York, I guess to those of you at home as well. We'll be taking about 2 minutes here.